Welcome to another video on Vento Nuovo's game called Black Swan. I'm playing the 1944 scenario at the moment, and I reached the summer turn, the first summer turn, meaning the Axis turn. In spring, the Allies landed successfully in Normandy, and in the Blitz phase they moved on to the Channel coast. They also conquered Italy. There was a failed invasion of Vichy France, and the Russians tried to encircle Army Group Center here, but they failed. Now, I've already completed the production phase for the Axis in the first summer turn, and these are just some strategic deliberations I'm going to share with you, and hopefully you're going to enjoy them. So I've placed the Italian control markers to remind me that I wanted to say something about that in that video. The red dice signify the Russian-controlled victory areas, the black ones, the German ones, and the blue ones, the Western Allied ones. So let's start over here with the out-of-supply Axis units. They haven't moved in the spring phase, obviously because there was only an Allied phase, because that's where the 1944 scenario starts. The Axis always go first, meaning that they've already had their turn in 1944. And why does it say in the 1944 scenario that all units are in supply? Well, because supply is only checked for the phasing player, so it isn't until the first turn, the Axis turn of the summer, that you actually have to mark these units out of supply. Obviously they can trace supply that way. They can trace supply across the Western Black Sea either because it's Russian controlled, it's per definition Russian controlled, which is what the emblem says, so I suppose they can never trace supply that way. But now they are marked out of supply, so I just wanted to point that out. Well, as I mentioned briefly previously, Operation Bagration took place. The Russians came very close to encircling these units here, but they didn't quite succeed because they had to use their blitz to clear the units from Pinsk, from the Pripyat marshes. So they had to attack there twice, meaning they couldn't entirely complete their encirclement. Now, I'm pretty sure that Hitler would have had these units stay here and fight to the death, but that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to retreat them later and form a new defensive line. Now, interestingly, well, let's just start here. I put two small control markers, opposition discs, sorry, to show you that I failed to move the American units in the US coastal waters simply because I forgot. Now, is that a bad thing? Well, it kind of may turn out to be. I suppose actually that you should always leave one for supply. I know that Allied units, whether they be American or British, can always be supplied either through London or Washington once the US is in the war. But I still think you should always leave one unit, just to make sure that the production points can, reach the Allies, because they need to be in supply as well. But the other two I think I should have moved into the North Sea. Why? Because there's actually a very interesting option now for the Germans to move these three Allied units, naval units, into the Channel, making it contested, and then from Paris they can attack the units here, and they will not be able to retreat, which they probably will because there are three units, so there could at most be three different unit types there, and the Axis in Paris have four different unit types. So no matter what happens, and they should definitely, because they're all up to full strength. I've already completed the production phase, so I've made sure that they're all full strength. So what's probably going to happen here, I mean, I cannot envision any possible other outcome, is that the Allies, if they're not entirely destroyed, will have to retreat. Now, the updated retreat rules by sea, as can be read in the Orange Swan rulebook, and also in some posts on Board Game Geek, only allow amphibiously assaulting units to retreat by sea. So the defender cannot do that. So that means that these units will be completely destroyed, even under the present rules, if I move in these units, because no unit could ever retreat across a contested Z-zone. Anyway, I won't have to do that because, as I said, the updated rules only allow an amphibiously assaulting unit to retreat by sea. So, and obviously they cannot retreat to Normandy either because that area is already fully stacked. Probably also a mistake. I should have left some space there, but then again, of course, the Germans from Paris would have probably attacked Nantes or Normandy, and something similar would have happened. Yeah, so one more thing I would like to point out. Zagreb is not listed as providing any economic income for the Germans. If you read the rules carefully, it says that the economic points in the Mediterranean front, which Zagreb is actually part of, always go to Italy. So I suppose it's not actually a mistake, but it simply means that Germany, for whatever reason, even though it is occupied by an Axis minor unit, cannot collect those points. It makes sense as far as the rules go. I mean, it's consistent. I'm not sure if it actually makes sense, but it's consistent and it's probably not a mistake. Yeah, so that's what I've been wanting to tell you about this scenario, and these are my strategic deliberations, and I hope you've enjoyed them. And I can definitely really recommend the game. It's a fantastic game, having a lot of fun with it. Thank you for watching.